So I'm going to go over acids. I'm just recovering from a coronavirus bout, so I'm getting back to normal slowly. So neutralization. Okay, acids neutralize bases and bases neutralize acids. Okay, acid plus base becomes salt plus water. Okay. One example of acids neutralization is when you're stung with bee stings. That's caused by methanoic acid. If you add baking soda to bee stings, it's probably only worth doing if you get up to hundreds of stings at once. The odd bee sting isn't worth doing it. It neutralizes it. Okay. Acids plus metal oxides becomes a salt plus water. Okay. So examples of a well-known acid base, you got hydrochloric acid plus NaOH, that's sodium hydroxide, becomes NaCl plus H2O. Okay. The metal of the salt comes from the base. Okay, and the chloride comes from the acid. Okay. So is this balanced? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so there's 2 hydrogens, 1 chlorine, 1 sodium, 1 oxygen. So that's balanced. Okay. Right. Next. Next we have sulfuric acid, H2SO4 plus sodium hydroxide becomes the sodium sulfate, Na2SO4 plus H2O. Okay, so that's the salt. Water. Okay, this is I think this is not balanced. 3 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens. It's not balanced. 1 sulfur, 1 sulfur. 4 plus 1 is 5 oxygen. 4 plus 1 is 5 oxygen. 1 sodium, 2 sodium. So you can balance it by, because there's 2 hydrogens either side. If you make that 2 sodium, then you have 2 hydrogens. Plus 2 is 4 hydrogens there, okay? So in order to balance the hydrogens, you put a 2 there. So 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 4 is there. 1, 1, 4, 5, 6 oxygen, 4, 5, 6 oxygen. 2 sodium, 2 sodium, okay? So that's now balanced. So you can write it as H2SO4 plus 2NaOH becomes Na2SO4 plus 2H2O. Okay? 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 1, 1, 4, 5, 6 oxygen, 4, 5, 6 oxygen, 2 sodium, 2 sodium. Okay? Okay, balanced. Next example, H2SO4 plus potassium hydroxide becomes potassium sulfate, K2SO4 plus H2O. Okay? Right, I know that the potassium is 1 plus, and that's 2 minus charge on that SO4 ion. So 2 times 1 is 2 plus minus 2 is 0. So that's why I write the K2SO4. Or you can use the rule I told you before, where you bring the 2 down, bring the 1 down. So the 2 comes down here and the 1 comes down there, so you get to K2SO4. Okay? Is that balanced? 2, 2, 1, 1, 4 plus 1 is 5, 4 plus 1 is 5, 1, 2. There's 2, there's 1 there, so you put 2 there. It becomes 2. Now you got 4 hydrogens, so you need a 2 there to make 4. So 2 plus 2 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4. 1 sulfur, 1 sulfur, 4, 5, 6 oxygen, 4, 5, 6 oxygen, 2 potassium, 2 potassium. Okay? So that's 2 plus 2 is 4 times hydrogen, 1 times sulfur, 6 times oxygen, 2 times potassium. 4 times hydrogen, 2 times 2 is 4, sulfur, 4, 5, 6, potassium, 2. 4, 5, 6, sorry, 2 times 2 is 4 hydrogen, 1 times sulfur, 4, 5, 6 times 4 plus 2 is 6, 2 times potassium. So I'd say that's balanced now, okay? So you can write that as H2SO4 plus 2 potassium hydroxide becomes K2SO4 plus 2H2O. Okay? So that's now balanced. Ready to do more calculations or any other kind of calculation you want to work you want. Okay, next example. You have H2SO4 plus sodium hydroxide becomes Na2SO4 plus H2O. Okay? To balance that, you do that and you do that. Okay? So you get 2, what's 4 hydrogen, 1 sulfur, 1 sulfur, 4, 5, 6 oxygen, 4, 5, 6 oxygen, 2 sodium, 2 sodium. Okay? But that's neutralization. Acid plus sodium hydroxide becomes sodium sulfate. So the metal comes from the hydroxide, okay, to form the salt, sodium, and the sulfate comes from the acid, okay, so you get sodium sulfate. Right, next I could do another one, which is, what should I do? So you got magnesium hydroxide plus, so MgOH2 plus becomes magnesium chloride. Okay, so is that balanced? 1, 1. 2 oxygen, 2, 3, how do you balance this? So you got how do you balance it? Magnesium, 1, OH, to, if you made that a if you put a 2 there, that would make 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen. That would make 4 hydrogen, so you could put a 2 there, so it's 2 plus 2 is 4 hydrogen, 2 chlorine. So now you got magnesium, magnesium, 1, 1, 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen, 2 plus 2 is 4 hydrogen, 2 times 2 is 4 hydrogen, 2 chlorine, 2 chlorine. So I'd say that's balanced. I simply stuck a 2 there and a 2 there. Okay, so that's 1 magnesium, 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen, 4 hydrogen, 4 hydrogen, 2 chlorine, 2 chlorine. Okay? Balanced. Okay. So this is an example, yeah. When to name the salt, the metal of the salt comes from the base, okay, and the chloride part comes from the acid, okay. So that's how we're naming them. Taking metal from the salt. Magnesium hydroxide becomes magnesium chloride, and then the OH and hydrogen become the water. So the acid loses a proton, the acid loses a hydrogen, okay? And that gets replaced by magnesium. That loses the hydrogen, which is replaced by magnesium, okay, in this case. In previous examples, yeah, the acid here loses the hydrogen, well, it loses both its hydrogens, and it's replaced by the sodium, so you get sodium sulfate, okay. Again, the acid loses the hydrogens and gets replaced by the potassium, so you get potassium sulfate instead of sulfuric acid. You get, okay, so the acid loses the hydrogens and gets replaced by the potassium. Okay. Right, and last but not least, I could acids plus metal carbonates. Okay, so hydrochloric acid plus calcium CO3 becomes calcium 2 plus H2O plus CO2. Okay. So in this case, the metal of the salt comes from the carbonate part, okay? And the chloride ion comes from the acid, okay? So that's the salt. So the metal of the salt, calcium, comes from the carbonate, calcium carbonate. And this isn't balanced yet. One of those, 2, 1 to 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, okay? 3, 2, 3. So if you put a small 2 there, that makes a big difference. I think 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens, 2 chlorine, 2 chlorine, 1 calcium, 1 calcium, 1 carbon, 1 carbon, 3 oxygen, 2 minus 3 oxygen. So simply putting 2 there is balanced. So you're at 2 HCl plus okay. So that's metal carbonates. The carbonate denotes the metal to make the metal salt calcium chloride, okay? And the ending, when you have calcium chloride, the ending of it, the chloride part comes from the acid, as I said. So that's metal, that's calcium, metal carbonates. So yeah, that's how you name salts, and how salts are formed from neutralization reactions of acids and bases, or acids and metal carbonates. Okay. So yeah, the metal comes from, in this case, the acid. Sorry, the metal comes from the base, magnesium hydroxide. The acid loses a proton, a hydrogen atom, and it's substituted for the metal, so you get metal chloride. Sorry, magnesium chloride. And the remaining hydroxide and hydrogen ions form water. Okay. So that's how you name the salt, the magnesium chloride. Okay. Magnesium coming from the base, chloride coming from the acid, and metal carbonates, the calcium coming from the carbonate, and the chloride coming from the acid. Okay, calcium chloride. Okay. Okay.